From the University of Virginia, this is WTJU Charlottesville on 91.1 FM. Good morning. The time is 8 o'clock.
The position I have allows me to interact with all facets of the university, including the medical center and all levels of the university. Probably the most rewarding thing that ever happened as being an employee here was just people come back and say, hey, Gerald, what you and your folks taught me in safety class saved my house, and in some instances I've actually had people say this saved my life. And hey, you can't get any better, more rewarding than that to know that something you've done was that. That's what it's all about. We're here to protect people.
And I work in the president's office here at the University of Virginia. I was with President Castine for his whole 20-year term, and I've been with President Sullivan since she arrived, and we'll stay with her until she departs. The university itself as a whole has been like a mentor. Everyone who I've worked with, worked for, have been absolutely the most caring, giving people of any place I think you could ever work in the world.
I work in information technology services, in custom applications and consulting services. When I started, we had one big mainframe. You had these old telex terminals. Now everybody walks around with a laptop. Everything's become mobile. I grew up out in the western part of Albemarle County, out in a little place called Browns Cove. All you saw on the dirt roads were old pickup trucks and old cars. Now in that same area, you see brand new Mercedes and BMWs. You don't see any old trucks. The friendships at UVA not only have helped me professionally, and I can just say, with working with Rozelle Smith, made me a better person because he's one of the finest men you'll ever meet.
My favorite thing about working at the university is the students. They always on their phones doing this little number. When they walk down the hallway, when I'm trying to get to the bathroom, could you please scoot over? Thank you.
One of my favorite memories is watching the ACC tournament, and just started at the university, and Virginia won their first ACC tournament basketball game. I was proud of that because I was part of the university. I was born in University of Virginia Hospital right here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and now I've been working here at the university for 40 years.
I was in the third class of entering women, so things were very different back then. I had one professor in the classics department. He was very adamant about not wanting women at the university. And so there were about 5 of us in his class, and we'd walk in and he would divert his eye contact with women as we walked in, and never called on us in class. I think the diversity is a huge change, not just gender diversity as far as women, but racial diversity, more of an open feeling, an openness that didn't exist at that time.
First thing we do here in the morning at 3:30, we'll ride around in certain areas because the university as an area, the amount of lights that we have is about 6,000. I would say winning the Leonard Sanders Award and the Governor's Award. I would say that was probably the greatest memory. I've worked for the University of Virginia for 30 years.
This year, I celebrated my 30-year anniversary, having worked only for the UVA Career Center. First day at work, I remember very vividly. I was only 18 years old, probably the same age as most of the students we serve, and I was in a customer service role in the Career Center, and we just had a ton of students with a ton of questions, and I was learning with them.
You know, when I started here, I would not have guessed that I would be here 25 years later. But the university has been very, very good to me. In the time that I've been here, you know, my wife and I moved here shortly after we got married, bought a house, we raised 3 children. It has made all of this possible.
Once when we were tearing out the walls at the rotunda, I actually found an old gun. It fell out the ceiling and hit me in the head. So, and once we, looked at that, and that was an amazing thing. I still have it somewhere. I just don't know where. Hey, boss. Hey, boss. Hey. Oh, you're good.
You on TV now?
Oh, yeah, I'm big time. It's just so many different trades, that you can learn. Like I did the building here, all the windows here, Now they're tearing it out because they're going with something new, but it was just a great experience. What I learned doing these trades up here, if you get involved in something, stick with it until you learn it. and then you can teach other people as life goes on. Laura, you messing my interview. That's my new boss. That's my director here. Yeah.
He's a good guy. I started working in IT about 37 years ago. We had no phones. We didn't have PCs or laptops back at the beginning, and now we're getting ready to implement a system where we'll be able to use our smartphones to conduct transactions and update records. The people that I work with, the managers that I've worked for, have all been excellent, and that's just made coming to work a lot of fun.
We take care of all the outlying facilities around Central Virginia, approximately 60 of them. Everything from Augusta to Orange County. There's one facility in Appomattox, that's the furthest we go. I'd say I spent a lot of time at KCRC, the Children's Rehab. That's where I started. And really watching the kids come in on stretches and walking out with their families. That's really one of the best memories of the whole thing. And feeling like you're a part of that, you know, in a little way. I mean, we keep the facility going, the doctors get to do their thing, the nurses get to do their thing. I found a secure job with a career and a future in it, and growth. It's just been, it's been a blessing.
I'd have a smoke detector on every level. I made sure I tested it weekly. Some people say monthly, but I'd make sure I tested it weekly. I'd have an evacuation plan. I'd practice that plan. You may have elderly parents living with you, you may have young children. Make sure you practice it, make sure you know what to do. Train that, train those people to do that, and just make sure that you have always 2 or 3 ways to get out. You don't block the exits, you don't store furniture where you should, that thing. Cooking. Cooking's a big issue. We have a lot of fires related to cooking and off-ground housing. Safe cooking practices to make sure you teach your children that as well.